What's up, everybody? Been quite a while again since I have filmed one of these videos, but I'm really making it one of my goals to try and, get back on this grind. Like I said, it holds me accountable, makes me a better trader. Hopefully, I can make some other people that are out there trying to become traders better traders as well. Because I will be honest, these last 2 months or month and a half has been very, very, very good for my personal trading. I've had a very successful last month towards the beginning of December to now. But what I want to go over today is kind of like my strategy, what I trade based off of, and like what I use within that strategy. So for me personally, I do trade off of supply and demand. I trade off of key technical levels of supply, demand, support, resistance, whatever you want to call it. Demand is just a pocket of support. Supply is just a pocket of resistance. It's just like zones of support and resistance. So today I do just want to go over like for me what I go through every single week and day when I am drawing my key levels that I'm going to trade off of during the week. So I'll go over this. So here we'll remove all my levels so that way I can do it with you guys. And I want to go over here. I created a little checklist where is going to be the most important levels. When I chart levels, I have a system that I like to work off of. It's a layered system that allows me to get the best levels that I could possibly get. First, most important levels that are 90% of the time going to be respected are key levels that have untested wicks that perfectly align with key psychological levels. What would a perfect example of this be? A perfect example of this would be just this past week. What did we do? We came up right over here and we tested 26,000 on NQ on the dot, okay? So perfect test of 26,000. We wicked off, we failed. So the next time that we pop into 26,000 on the NQ chart, I can almost guarantee we are going to fail. And so here, exactly what we did. We got the pop, we got the fade off of 26,000 originally. We got the failure, and then we got the pop back into it. And where did we fail? Right up near 26,000 at like 25,990. And so that right there is a very, 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 very major psychological level that I will always chart off of, especially when it's when it's a level that is to the thousandth. Hundreds are also very good, and I will go over that as well going into my levels for next week. Um, so that like right there is main sign of a key level when we have a wick that has yet to be tested. So we formed up, we created this wick, so now we have an untested wick at a key psychological level. So next time we pop into it, which is right here, we fade, get the move down, and then over here, we did have a little bit of drama, and eventually we did get the failure again, but that does not really matter as much. And so now I'll chart a little bit like what are the levels that I have going on. My key levels just come off of swing highs and swing lows. So next, another perfect example would be today's low, which perfectly coincides with 25,600. All right, so I just charted my key levels for the upcoming trading week now. So now we'll drop down to the hourly chart here. we got this little mini supply there, but we'll go over that. Next thing I want to go over, um, next level, next biggest level that I have are now untested wicks that are not aligned with a key psychological level. Example of this would be this demand here, down here at 25,420. Um, uh, Most likely scenario is that we do end up popping. We do get like some kind of demand bounce on the initial test here. I'll show an example of that. Actually, I just drew a level. All right, so if you go down to the hourly chart, I'll show an example of what I'm talking about when when you have a key level that doesn't technically coincide with a key psychological level. So right here, we have this low on the hourly chart at about 25,675, which is just like a somewhat psychological level. It is a whole number, but it's not perfect like what we're looking for, like with the psych level at like 26,000 that I talked about earlier. So we had that hourly low here, and this morning we came down here and we tested it, and what do we do right off of it? We caught a 50-point bounce before then reversing and failing back into 25,600. So, what do we do? I mean, you can take a 50-point bounce on NQ. That's a beautiful move. I mean, it's $1,000 per contract. But it's not as important, not as huge when you test it. So next, the third biggest levels in my opinion are big psychological levels that have not yet been tested. To me, I really only talk about like going to the 500s for these. Like let's go to like MNQ because I shouldn't have levels charted on here. I do not. Let's check something. Pretty much every single time we test the first test of an 1,000 level, we get some kind of failure off of that level. So like down here, for example, the first test ever of 21,000, we get a big failure. We get up here, don't get a failure off here, but then when we come over here, first test of 24,000, big failure. First test of 25,000 right here, we get a 500 point failure. We get a little reclaim, but then we test 26,000 over here, and we get a 1,000 point failure. Test it again over here, get a 700 point failure. Test it again over here, we get a 500 point failure. So those key like 1,000 point psychological levels on NQ are going to be my third biggest level of either support or resistance, depending on where you are. Because I mean, you can see even right here, like this 24,000, first touch 24,000, big reject back into 23,000. We reclaim, we retest, and we rip, and that's where I would get that level from. Next, common every single day levels that I trade off of each and every day are going to be, your previous week high, your previous week lows, your previous day highs, your previous day lows, your pre-market highs, your pre-market lows. Those are levels that I trade off of every single day and are on my watch list every single day off of key levels that I'm looking for breakouts, breakdowns, rejects, bounces. But I'll go over a little example right here. NQ. Wondering why we bounced on NQ a little bit when we dumped? If you check out previous week low, 25,400, and then you drop down to a lower time frame, where did we bounce this week? We bounced off of previous week low at 25,400. So this is the second. Sorry, but yeah. So you know those levels. I trade off of daily, off of previous day highs a lot. I use them for trade ideas. I don't normally trade because of them, but I will use them for trade ideas. Like for example, here we popped above previous day high at 25,925. Right here, we failed. We got below and we faded. And I actually did take this exact trade, by the way. I took this exact trade and made about 1,500 bucks on each funded account on Thursday session, I believe. So previous day highs, previous day lows, those are big. Last thing I want to go over in this video is when do levels become less important to trade? When are they becoming less probable? Because everyone knows that that does happen. We'll go hop back over to NQ. So this, in my, is it's a good question because people will, they'll have a key level and they won't remove them from their chart, and then they'll keep trading off of that level over and over and over again. A key level is no longer important. It's no longer relative, like important to me after it's been tested. The only time I really like to take bounces and rejects are if that level is at an untested psychological level, or like it has a wick and we haven't yet gone and retested that wick yet. Those are my favorite levels to trade off of. But like for example, these highs at 26,130 over here, we have 4 different wicks off of this level. We got 1, we got 2, we got 3, we got 4. And so what happens on each one of those wicks? Let's say we had, we had this big sell-off over here off this level, this 25,128 level. A lot of times what, institutions will do, they have this big level of resistance. So they will have their, take profits set, so they'll have their sell orders sitting. So let's say they have 100,000 sell positions at this wick right here, right? Okay, that's beautiful. So they have 100,000 sell positions at this wick right here because of this. So now, this time, right here, maybe 25,000 get filled. So now there's 75,000 left at this now resting sell orders at that position. Now here, third, say another 25,000 contracts get filled. Now there's only 50K resting sell orders pending at that level. So now every single time this level gets tested, it's weaker. We test it again. Bam. 25K resting orders. So now, let me get rid of all my junk lines. Next time we come up, it will inevitably happen. Let's say we come down here, take out these lows, reclaim, get a higher low, and then we go. I think we're going to blast right through this 26,128 because that level has been tested so many times. It is no longer a valid level to trade off of. I would say it's more valid to trade a break and retest than it is to come up, take another rejection. Even then, we might get another rejection, look for the higher low, break, retest, and skedaddle on out of there. But yeah, that is my 2 cents on like the level system. That is how I come up with my levels, how when I trade, and just to show you guys that I'm not just some person that's coming out here and talking out my ass. On if you want to go on to Tradeify, which is a regulated prop firm, just in this past month, from December 16th to now, I've taken in over $25,000 worth of payouts from Tradeify. using this exact supply and demand system that I'm showing you guys right now. But that'll do it for today's video. This week I'm going to get a bunch of videos out there. I'm going to make a couple entry system videos. I'm going to make psychological videos as well. The shifts that I had to make from burning thousands of dollars a month on evals to being able to make multiple five figures off of those exact same accounts. But I do want to get these YouTube videos churning. I do want to help some of you guys that are in the same position I was just a couple months ago, and I want to go ahead and change my trading, change other people's trading, because there really is no better job out there than trading. But that's all I got for today, guys, and have a good, safe weekend. Bye.